Good morning, and thank you everybody for coming. Today is really a day about celebrating a piece of legislation that we all worked hard on, and that's really what I love about Nevada is when we can all come together to get a piece of legislation that works for our state. And this is so important because one, not only will it create jobs, but two, it'll continue to make our water system as reliable for the future generations, and that's really our goal. So I would be remiss if I didn't start thanking folks. I want to thank Senator Catherine Cortez Masto. I want to thank Senator Titus, Congresswoman Titus, for getting the bill through Congress. That is a feat all by itself, making sure that other people outside of Nevada understand the importance. Thank Governor Lombardo for working with the President and the White House once it got to him. And really, I want to thank our board members I have Commissioner Jones, I have Councilman Walton, who sit on the Las Vegas Valley Water District, as well as the Southern Nevada Water Authority and the Colorado River Commission. So I want to thank the Water District folks because it was a lot of work. But there's a lot of speakers here today with a lot of great information, so I want to really give them the opportunity to talk about the real enhancements that that's going to do. But most importantly, this is us working together to preserve our water supply, to ensure that Nevada residents in Southern Nevada have the most reliable and redundant system, making sure the conservation efforts were kept, providing jobs, and saving us lots of money. So with that, I'll invite Governor Lombardo up.
Marilyn, that was the sort of speech I've ever heard from you. Well, good morning, everyone. I appreciate you being here today for a very momentous agreement, right? Piece of legislation that's going to change the fabric of what we're dealing with here in Southern Nevada. So today marks an important milestone for Southern Nevada. When we talk about growth in our state, we're talking about more than new homes, new businesses, and new jobs. We're talking about whether Nevada is prepared for the future. The reality is simple. Growth only works if the infrastructure is there to support it. And we cannot grow without access to clean water. That is why the Sloan Canyon Conservation and Lateral Pipeline Act is so important. Say that 3 times fast. This legislation gives Nevada greater certainty, greater security, and great confidence in our future. This project will strengthen the reliable water supply for residents and businesses in the Las Vegas Valley. It will provide system redundancy, protect against potential outages, and help ensure that families, businesses, and hospitals and first responders can continue to rely on safe and dependable water delivery. At the end of the day, this is public safety and water security. Right now, a significant portion of the Las Vegas Valley relies on existing infrastructure that is expected to reach full capacity in the years ahead, correct? Without additional capacity and backup systems in place, any major disruption could have serious consequences for residents, businesses, and our economy. This legislation, which now has been signed into law, helps address that challenge responsibly. This legislation took years of planning, coordination, and bipartisan cooperation to get across the finish line. Federal, state, and regional and local leaders came together with business leaders, healthcare institutions, conservation advocates, and community stakeholders to find common ground. That's how major projects get done. Correct, Marilyn? I was proud to support this legislation because it was the right thing to do for Nevada. I also advocated for this bill directly with the White House, and I appreciate they recognized the importance of this effort and the President signed it into law. I also want to thank many of the people who helped make this possible. First and foremost, Congresswoman Dina Titus, Congresswoman, Senator Catherine Cortez Masto, John Ensminger, who he's not here today, correct? That's unfortunate. He's such a key partner in what we're trying to achieve, all things water. with the Southern Nevada Water Authority. I also want to thank our local elected officials, regional partners, and staff leadership for their persistence and commitment to Nevada's future. Because this project is bigger than a pipeline. This is about making sure Nevada remains strong, prepared, and economically competitive for decades to come. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for all the people involved in this process and the legislation. As you know, it doesn't happen overnight. And I can't thank you, Congresswoman and Senators, so much for achieving what you did with this piece of legislation. So thank you. And I apologize, I'm going to have to take my leave. I have a prior commitment, so it's not meant to be rude. It's just a timeline thing. So everybody have a great day. God bless you.
Thank you, Governor. I too want to thank everybody here at Southern Nevada Water Authority, the board, chair, everybody on the board, Chairwoman Marilyn Kirkpatrick, my partner in passing this bill, Congresswoman Dina Titus, Governor Lombardo, Mayor Romero, thank you, and the team at the Conservation Lands Foundation, who you're going to hear from. This is crucial. We couldn't have not done it without this partnership. As you have heard, this was a year-long effort that actually came together because of the local, state, and federal partnership we're so proud of here in Nevada. It did take a lot of work in Congress, a lot of phone calls, a lot of meetings, a lot of perseverance. It fell in, it fell out, it fell in, it fell out again. But I will tell you, it was a priority for those of us in Congress as we were hearing from John Ensminger, as we were hearing from Marilyn and so many here at the Water Authority, the importance of it. I was so pleased to be able to work with Dina and get it through both chambers finally to get where we are today so that we can celebrate. This is a testament to that collaboration at all levels of government in both the private and public sectors. That's what we've done because we have a shared commitment as Nevadans to really, especially when it comes to ensuring our communities have access to clean water. As we all know right now, we're experiencing the worst drought in recorded history. We have all seen how low the water level is at Lake Mead. Protecting our water supply is one of our most important priorities as elected officials and advocates for Southern Nevadans. That's why it was so critical to pass this legislation, to build this upgraded pipeline, and ensure that residents in Henderson and throughout the Las Vegas Valley can count on safe, clean water flowing into their homes. Now, this new pipeline won't only benefit residents. It'll be good for our existing businesses as well, and for helping new business in the Las Vegas Valley get off the ground. And it'll also support a better water system for our military community in Southern Nevada, who also rely on this water infrastructure to serve their facilities. And again, thanks to the engagement with our partners at the Conservation Land Foundation and various Valley stakeholders, we're building the most effective, we're building the pipeline along the safest and most effective and least environmentally disruptive route possible. I want people to know that. That was taken into consideration as we were developing this legislation. This route also saves ratepayers $200 million, and it mostly keeps construction out of Henderson's residential and business areas. And on top of that, this legislation, which is the only bill passed into law this Congress that adds land into conservation, that's another thing I want people to understand, it expands the Sloan Canyon National Conservation Area by nearly 9,300 acres. That's an almost 20% increase in size. This is what happens when we work together. We find the best possible solutions for our communities, and we apply pressure from all angles to get them done. I am proud to say as well that this is a bipartisan effort, and here's why. I know Dina's going to talk about her end, but on my end, to get things done out of the Senate right now, including this legislation, there was a bipartisan effort. That's because we matched this bill with Lisa Murkowski's, a bill that she was getting done, and we were able to move them together. When we're saying collaboration, not just here in Nevada, there's collaboration happening in Washington, D.C. to get things done and continue to govern. So I am pleased to be here to celebrate with all of you. And now I want to turn this over and thank again my partner, Congresswoman Dina Titus.
Well, thank you, Catherine, and thank you to so many people who are here today who are celebrating the passage of my bill. This is just really great, and I thank you for being here. Thank the SNWA who've been with us all along and for hosting this celebration. My colleagues in the Senate, Mayor Romero, the governor, I'm sorry he had to leave, the Conservation Lands Foundation, thank you for all that you did. Everybody who supported the journey of this bill all the way to the president's desk. You know, it advances two of my priorities in legislation. One is water reliability, and the other is conservation of our precious lands here in Nevada. You know, as the Colorado River experiences our worst year ever in terms of water supply with all the drought that's going on, we need to do everything we can to safeguard our water reliability, and that means investing in water infrastructure. Water infrastructure is really critical infrastructure, and that is certainly true here in southern Nevada. As you heard, think about this, 40% of our drinking water here in the valley is delivered through a single pipeline that was built way back in the 1990s. That's why this was so critical, that South Valley Lateral. Now, my bill authorizes the construction of a pipeline that will increase that water reliability for over 1 million Nevadans. It'll allow a new portion of the Horizon Lateral to tunnel underneath the Sloan Canyon National Conservation Area. Now, that might sound controversial at first, and it is until you look at all the pieces of the legislation. Now, several reasons why this is important. Taking it under the Sloan Canyon Conservation Area will save Henderson lots of disruption for many years, disruption to traffic, to schools, to neighborhoods, and to businesses. So we're pleased that that was able to be avoided. And this is a cheaper route than going through Henderson. It will be $200 million cheaper to take this route instead. And so that's a win-win in today's world of economics. I'm pleased that the bill got unanimous support out of the House on a voice vote and then was on the consent calendar in the Senate, and so we got it through. I was a little worried about the president. It sat on his desk for a while, but I guess that call by the governor got him to sign it, so we were very happy about that. Highlight, as Catherine did, that the bill expands the Sloan Canyon National Conservation Area. Thank you to all your advocacy, by over 9,000 acres. And this is home to many of our iconic scenery, ecosystems, petroglyphs, so many things that we value here in our public lands in southern Nevada. It's a vital place for people to go and enjoy the outdoors, a place of serenity, kind of a holy place. This was the only bill that the president has signed for conservation. You know, this administration is really moving in the opposite direction when it comes to conservation, so that makes this an extra plus. You know, it's also a perfect example of something that I've talked about for a long time, responsible development and sustainability, because it balances growth with conservation, and it takes into account the need for water if we are looking at development. And I've said many times, you cannot talk about development without the consideration of water. According to the Bureau of Reclamation's forecast, by July 2027, Lake Mead will drop another 20 feet. That's the kind of critical situation we're in as we see the bathtub rings around Lake Mead. So we can't let history repeat itself. And I'll continue to push for guardrails on our water sustainability and reliability in any lands bills that are offered. So in concluding, I'm just delighted that we got this passed. Many people were engaged in it from all aspects of the issue. We pushed it through the House, which is, if I may say so, in some immodesty, a difficult thing to do on any issue today. And so I'm glad that the president signed it, and I look forward to continuing to work on these issues moving forward. And I turn it over to Mayor Romero.
Thank you all for being here. And when people say something literally takes an act of Congress to happen, I don't think they truly understand what that means. The level of planning and coordination and compromise and going back and forth cannot be under-recognized. And I salute Catherine Cortez Masto, Senator, and Congresswoman Dina Titus for the work that they did in Congress. That was a difficult thing to do, and it has taken a good long time for us. Henderson is so appreciative. They mentioned that there would be devastating impacts to Henderson if the alternative route was approved. That would have been the understatement of the century. The alternate route would have completely torn up the entire edge of Henderson, our parks, our travel, our transportation corridors, things that our residents rely on every single day that add to our quality of life would have been destroyed or disrupted for years and years. This saves money and it saves our residents. We cannot thank you enough for the work that you did to help us advocate for our residents, making sure that this wonderful piece of legislation passed, that we now have a redundant water system that will serve at day one 30% of Henderson's residents, and at build out more than 45%. And 80% of Henderson's residents will be part of the redundancy mechanism for this line. So we truly, truly appreciate that as well. This is a life safety issue. This was not safe to have one water line for that many people. This resolves that problem. We are so grateful to be here today celebrating this great day, and I thank you again for the work that you did, and all the partners, Las Vegas Valley Water District, Southern Nevada Water Authority, all of the people who work there, John Ensminger, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
Good morning. My name is Berta Gutierrez, and I'm with the Conservation Lands Foundation. I say my name because y'all probably don't know me, as you do or other speakers. And I am here to really thank Senator Cortez Masto and Congresswoman Dina Titus for really working on solutions for Southern Nevada. We've been working on this for years. I was there on a really hot day when we went on a tour, seeing like what the impacts to the National Conservation Area were going to be. And I thank the Southern Nevada Water Authority because they've been available to answer many, many, many questions from us from anything from impacts on the ground to any closing at the ground level. How is this going to affect wildlife? How is it going to affect recreation? And so this bill is really a show on how we can achieve important infrastructure needs and address them while also upholding conservation. And not only upholding the values that the National Conservation Area was designated for, but also expanding it. And so also taking the opportunity to add some mitigation and increase the area that is protected so that we can continue to enjoy it for generations to come. And so this bill, especially right now in this very polarized political era, is a great show that balance can be achieved if we involve communities in the solutions. I know I'm the only one here representing conservation, but there's many groups on the ground, Friends of Nevada Wilderness, Friends of Sloan, that have been at the table collaborating, asking the right questions, you know, how is this going to work, what's going to happen, and they're also going to be there once the tunnel breaks in. I was going to say that we break ground, but, you know, that's not going to happen. So we're really happy to be here celebrating this balance bill becoming law. And we look forward to continue our partnership as the work starts and gets completed. So, and I'm going to invite Doa Ross to take over here.
Well, my name is Doa Ross. I'm the Deputy General Manager for Engineering and Operations for the Southern Nevada Water Authority. And as you've heard, the passage of the Sloan Canyon Conservation and Lateral Pipeline Act is a major achievement for Southern Nevada. And it could not have happened without some very key individuals First and foremost, I have to say thank you very much to Senator Cortez Masto and Congresswoman Titus for getting the bill through your respective houses. That was not an easy task, and you're champions. And thank you as well to Governor Lombardo for his role as that bill hit the president's desk. Everybody in this community has come together for such an incredible piece of infrastructure that is so very much needed. And I have to thank Commissioner Kirkpatrick for always being such an advocate for this bill and rallying the troops necessary. Also, of course, our Conservation Lands Foundation friends, as well as Friends of Sloan Canyon. It really, truly does take a community to make something like this happen to benefit Southern Nevada. And I do want to take a moment to acknowledge two of our board members that are in the audience. We have Councilman Walton as well as Commissioner Jones. Thank you both for being here as well. And thank you to everyone that came out for this momentous event and for covering this. This is truly important. I know that we will be here available to take any questions and interviews as you need. And on behalf of the Southern Nevada Water Authority, I'll take it from here. Thank you.
So again, we can't say thank you enough, really, if you don't know today, but you'll know for future generations. This is monumental and probably the most important piece of legislation that is passed in Congress in some time for Southern Nevada. So thank you, Senator. Thank you, Congresswoman. So at this time, we'll take more questions. Just so you know, I think we've given you a lot of information, but I want to invite the speakers back up so you can take questions, Senator, Congresswoman, Mayor. This will create a little over 1,000 jobs, which I don't think that we really talked about, which is something that we need to do to keep the economic engine going. But please really know this monumental legislation will go down in our history books as providing the most reliable water source in Southern Nevada for so many residents. So thank you for coming out, and we're happy to answer any questions. Go ahead.
Hi, I was hoping that either Joa or Bertha could elaborate a little bit on the wildlife impacts. How are those being minimized, as well as are there any translocation of Joshua trees or any plants, or how are those, I guess, intersecting with the work that's being done?
Either one of you got to come this way.
Thank you, and that's a great question. I'm assuming you're meaning within the Sloan Canyon Conservation Area? Yeah. So obviously we wanted to minimize any touching of the surface at all. The tunneling will happen before the conservation boundary and end after the conservation boundary. There is necessity, though, to be able to determine the type of rock that's within the ground, so we will be helicoptering in a rig to be able to take a core sample in 13 locations total throughout the entire area, specifically choosing areas not to disrupt any sort of habitat or plant life. We've demonstrated the ability to do that outside of the conservation area to the Bureau of Land Management, and they were satisfied with our ability to do that with minimal impact at all. And we will be doing that with our friends in the conservation area side by side with us. Yes, thank you. Great question. Sure, come on up.
We also worked on timing, because those testings that are going to happen on the ground that will be on, on the surface, we also worked on timing, like, well, we can't do it during mating season for the bighorn sheep, and we were looking at all of these timing and what is that going to look like. So we did look at examples that have happened outside of the conservation area and seeing that really there's virtually no impact to the ground once they're done. And so we did ask all the questions about all of the different phases that this will take.
Okay. Any other questions? Steve.
This is essentially designed to be a backup to the existing system. Will this facilitate any further development in that area of Henderson or further to the south?
Well, anytime we install a pipeline, there's always the opportunity for additional service to be provided. So there are a number of what we call rate of flow control centers. And those are turnouts where we deliver water from the wholesaler to the retailer. That is for their systematic development and backstopping of their own community. How they choose to develop from within those areas entirely up to them at the municipal level. But this pipe is primarily for the redundancy and reliability of that South Valley Lateral, the ability to continue serving the areas within City of Henderson and the Las Vegas Valley Water District's area in the county can also be served as well from this pipeline.
Okay, any other questions? Yes.
What were the possible problems if this pipeline breaks?
So we have about 1 million residents that are served off of the South Valley Pipeline. The South Valley Lateral was built in the 90s. We've already had one instance where we found a leak on it. It was a very fortunate situation in that the leak was able to be found and repaired within a 10-day period of time. And it also happened to be during winter. This was several years ago. When we don't have a lot of water demand, we can usually handle those. But with the size of that pipeline, if we had a major failure or a need for a big rehabilitation, we would potentially be taking up to 1 million people out of water for a period of time. So this is very necessary, and we've always planned on this pipe being needed. This is just getting to a point where the South Valley Lateral is reaching an age where we would like to do assessments and rehabilitations to it to keep it up, and this extra pipeline allows us to do that. No, fortunately our partners with City of Henderson, which I am very thankful for their partnership, they filled their reservoirs nice and full when we were able to take that pipe down to do the repair so that their customers and businesses had no idea it was down.
So one of the things I want to reiterate about our water system, which makes it so reliable, is we've always planned to keep our infrastructure up to date to ensure that worst case scenario that we're prepared and we're ready. We literally have over 200 people that are on call 24 hours a day to address all types of leaks and everything. But for this piece, this was the one piece within Southern Nevada that didn't necessarily have the redundant loop. And so that's why it was most important that we plan today for future generations as our infrastructure is aging, that we're planning for that. So doing that across Southern Nevada as a whole is what keeps our water system moving constantly through our valley, but it also ensures that the infrastructure, that we're not waiting until what we see around the country is a lot of times infrastructure cost comes last, right? Capital improvements come last. And this is the one thing on water, as you've heard today, that it's very important to our community on how we use it, and we invest in the infrastructure ahead of time so that future generations are well protected.
I know that you all want to get individual comments, so we're going to do that. We're just kind of coming up on a tight timeline. We want to make sure that you all get what you need. So I know a lot of these folks will stick around so that you can all get your own individual comments, if that's okay. All right.
Thank you for coming.